This is Mrs. O'Neill for Chapter 11, Review Questions and Problems. So you're going to go through the video by pausing as you see the question or the problem. You may either do it mentally or you may write them down. Sometimes there are multiple parts. And then you're going to play the video because the next slide is your answers. So it's basically see the question, do the question, pause the video, and then play to get the answer. So it's pause, do, play. So here is 1 through 5 out of 1 through 20. Balance and give type. And you probably can right now use your flow chart, but hopefully once you get to number 11, you don't have to use that flow chart anymore because you're going to be so used to the questions you're asking yourself. So pause, balance either mentally or on paper, and then come up with the type for these first 5. So hopefully you paused, you balanced, you came up with type, and now you're going to pause, you're going to check your work, you're going to check your coefficients, and you're going to check the type. And just as a reminder, if you put SR instead of writing out single replacement, that's fine. All right, so now that you know the gist of 1 through 5, we're going to do the same thing to number 20. So here's your 6 through 10. Pause. Hopefully you paused, you came up with the balanced equation and the type, and now you're checking your work. Here's your 11 through 15. And here's your 11 through 15 answers. All right, now we are at 16 through 20. Hopefully you don't need your flow chart anymore. And here's your answers for 16 through 20. All right, so now the following questions, however, are the words to a balanced equation. So you're going to see a statement and you want to change those words into formulas as a skeleton equation. Remember, a skeleton equation is just an equation without balancing, right? It's just the formulas. So the next slide you will see is actually just the formulas, the skeleton equation, because you should check your formulas, make sure they are correct before you start balancing. If you don't do that, then your balancing is going to be either really, really easy because everything is one subscripts, or it's going to be very, very difficult because you have something wrong. I also included the states of matter for each substance, your S's, your L's, your G's, and your AQ's for solution. You don't have to put that into your equations, but I want you to still be aware of them because you'll see them later on. And then the next slide is your final answer, your balanced chemical equation. So again, this is going to be pause, come up with an equation, play the video to see your skeleton equation, pause again to make sure your formulas are correct, and then you're going to play the video to check your final balanced chemical equation. So pause, read over, see if you can come up with a formula for each of the substances as reactants and products. If you want to include the states of matter, that's fine too. And then, of course, give the type, but just do the formulas for now. So you should have paused and came up with just the formulas. And again, I included the state of matter. It's not necessary. So now you're going to pause and balance and give type. And hopefully you do not have to use your flow chart. And you should have come up with that balance. So again, pause, make sure your coefficients are correct, and the type. All right, so now that you understand what the order of the PowerPoint is, I'm just going to kind of run through it. So here's your number 22. You should have paused and came up with that. And now you should have paused and balanced and came up with the type, which would be that. So hopefully you paused and checked your answers. Here's number 23. Here's your skeleton equation with the states of matter. And here's your balanced equation and your type of reaction. And this one, woohoo, you didn't even need to balance, it already was. So 24. And here's the skeleton equation. And again, it doesn't matter the order here of your, oh, I shouldn't have said anything, but here we go. Here's your answer to the balanced and your combustion reaction. What I was trying to get at is sometimes they give you water and then the carbon dioxide, and sometimes it's carbon dioxide and then the water. I apologize for my sniffling. It's allergy season. Here's number 25. And you should have paused and came up with those. And now you should have paused and came up with a balanced chemical equation and a type. Number 26. Again, you should have paused and came up with that. And hopefully by now, especially something like this, you don't need to make your list. Hopefully you can kind of spot check it first and then notice that this one especially is already balanced. It's nice to kind of spot check first, and then if it's not balanced and if you have to make your list, that's fine. But if it's already balanced, it's already balanced. You don't have to make that list. You don't have to waste that time doing that extra step. Number 27. And you should have paused to come up with the skeleton equation of that. And yes, it says black carbon soot. Soot, guys, just means that it's carbon as a solid. And so you should have balanced and came up with that type. All right, guys, good luck on your test.